Hey everyone, my name is April, the Texan Vitilinese. I call myself the Texan Vitilinese because I'm from Dallas, Texas, and I have vitiligo. So there you go, makes sense, right? So my journey with vitiligo started about 8 years ago. I was on a birthday trip in Costa Rica, and I ended up with this little white spot on my face that was later diagnosed as vitiligo. And what I quickly came to the realization of is that vitiligo is much more so a emotionally debilitating disease. That's how I read it when I started doing my research. Emotionally debilitating disease, and it was like ding ding, like yeah, it's so true. So much more so emotionally debilitating disease than it is a skin condition. It's very much so a mental disease before it is a skin condition, and so I wanted to start a channel in which I shared my experiences with this mental disease, and I share my experiences with treating it as a skin condition and different things I've done over the years. I've had it for 8 years, different things I've done over the years to treat my vitiligo. I'm sure looking at me, I'm not wearing any makeup, but I'm sure you can probably see some of the light spots that are kind of around my chin down here. Also, so I have some spots coming in on my neck and then obviously my hands, but I will tell you that my face has seen the biggest benefit of my treatments that I've been through than anything else. Like I've tried my hands, my knees. I have vitiligo pretty much everywhere you could possibly name. I have some sort of spot, it could be like a dime size or quarter size or bigger than that. But I have vitiligo like pretty much every single place. But my face itself has seen the biggest benefits of the treatments that I've gone through over the years than anything. And I'm super grateful for the progress that I've had. And I didn't write the book on vitiligo. I'm not a doctor. What I tell you guys that I did doesn't mean that I'm saying, yes, you need to go do it. I think I'm just sharing my experiences, and then you can go talk to your doctor and figure out if that's something that would work for you or not. But like I said, I very much consider vitiligo a mental disease first. And so what I wanted to share is my mental struggles with vitiligo, as well as just the resources, like the physical things that I've done in order to treat my vitiligo. And some things have worked and some things haven't. And those are the things I want to share. I've spent so much mental thinking over the years, so much mental energy over the years on my vitiligo, whether it be like reading or just thinking and things like that, that I want to be able to share my thoughts with other people. And I would love it if you guys could comment below and tell me how you guys feel. Am I on the right track? Or do you guys feel similar to, or do you guys have a completely different experience? Everyone's experience with vitiligo is so different, mainly because it attacks people's bodies so differently. And so I'd definitely be interested in hearing your stories and love to hear how vitiligo has impacted you from both the mental aspects, and if there is anything that you've done to treat your vitiligo that we can discuss in the future. So like I said, I was diagnosed with vitiligo about 8 years ago. I ended up having like a little white patch right here, like on the side of my mouth, about the size of my fingernail here. It wasn't white, it was just lighter. And at the time, it was in the summer, I was in Costa Rica, and I kind of thought, well, it's probably just a sunspot. My skin's probably not used to the strength of the sun. I'm just gonna wait it out. Like, I'm just gonna see what happens. And so I waited thinking that it would go away, once the sun wasn't beaming on me. So I waited and I waited, and then finally like January came around. I'm like, okay, like there's no sun anymore. I need to go to the doctor and figure out what the deal is. So I went to UT Southwestern in Dallas. I love that. A shameless plug for UT Southwestern in Dallas. But went to UT Southwestern in Dallas and saw a doctor, and she's like, our head vitiligo doctor is not here right now, but it looks like you have vitiligo. Pretty sure it's vitiligo. So yes, you have vitiligo. And so I'm like, what's vitiligo? And so she explained that was an autoimmune disease that basically your white blood cells eat your melanocytes, which are the cells that produce melanin. They think there's an invasion, even though there's not. And then they start eating your melanocytes. And so, which causes the depigmentation of your skin, white patches or lighter patches on your skin. And so she explained it. And I, of course, had a lot of questions like, well, is it going to go anywhere else? Or, what is it? Is it going to spread? And so she told me that it's different for everybody. So for some people, it doesn't spread at all. It'll stay in that one little place and then never move. But for a lot of people, it will kind of disperse itself throughout the body. It can move really fast or it can move really slowly, and you just never know because it's just so different for everybody. So I went home and I just started Googling, obviously, like everything I could about vitiligo and just learning about it. And like I said, the biggest thing that really stood out to me about it, because there really is no cure, is the mental toll that it really takes on you. And it's crazy because when I first was diagnosed, before knowing that my vitiligo was vitiligo, I really didn't think about that white spot that much. Maybe occasionally, but I didn't spend a lot of time thinking about it. But once I knew it was vitiligo, it took up a lot of my mental energy. And it was because there was the anxiety of not knowing what this could look like, what this could potentially be. What am I going to look like in 2 years, 5 years? And so it really took up a lot of my energy. I spent a lot of time reading and praying about my vitiligo, just asking for God to take it away. And I eventually went to a doctor named Dr. Blackburn in Dallas, and he's not practicing anymore. But he cured my vitiligo momentarily. Like whatever he did, it got rid of this little patch right here that was on the side of my face. And I felt like, yes, I got it, I'm cured. You know, obviously I knew it could progress, but it just felt good to have that gone. But then over time, I got another patch here, and then it just started progressing kind of in just different areas on my hands and things like that. And at the time I was doing phototherapy, Dr. Blackburn at this point had kind of stopped practicing, so I couldn't really go back to him, but I was doing phototherapy. And I wasn't able to keep up with that because I was working. And if you've done phototherapy before, you know it's a really big commitment. You have to do it 2 or 3 times a week, and really 3 times a week to see the improvement that you want. And so I really kind of stopped doing that, and I was just doing topical creams. But I was on a vacation with my family, and we went to this monkey sanctuary. And this monkey was like sitting on my head. It was pretty fun. And so the kids were all taking pictures with the monkey, and like my husband was taking the pictures with the monkey, and so this monkey's like on my head, and the photographer was coming around taking pictures of everybody. And when we got the pictures back, I was like, what is happening to my skin? My face had completely taken on, it's not that I didn't see it because I looked at myself in the mirror all the time, but when I saw this professional picture of myself and I saw all the white patches all around, I think it just kind of shocks me. And I hated the way my face looked. And I hate to say that I hated something about myself, but I hated the way those spots looked. And I knew right then, like, I have got to do something about this. Like, I have to try. If it turns out that this doesn't, I get emotional talking about it because it's an emotional disease, or it's an emotional condition. It's a mental disease. But I hated the way I looked. And so I was like, I gotta try something. Like, I gotta figure this out. So I spent more time researching and, looking on YouTube and things like that, and trying to understand what can I do about the way I look and how can I fix it. And I ended up doing extract therapy, and it helped a lot. And I'll share in another episode the process with extract therapy and through the insurance and what that progression looked like of my face kind of over time. But I ended up doing extract therapy, and it ended up helping my skin, a ton, right? Like, it looks way different now than it did then. And it's been extremely beneficial, and I'd love to share my experiences with extract therapy. But like I said, it's really more about the fact that at that point in time, I was just like, oh my gosh, what is this, And so I feel like I really wanted to start this channel because I feel like a lot of people are caught in 2 different sides of the vitiligo stage, the cycle. There's the first cycle where you find out you have vitiligo, you may be in the early diagnosis stage, and you start researching like crazy, like I was, right? Trying to figure out what are the cures, or there's no cure, but what can I do to treat it? And then there's a completely other side, and it also depends on where you are in the process of your vitiligo and what form it's taken, right? But there's another side that says, hey, I have vitiligo, and I love my vitiligo. I embrace my vitiligo. I love the way I look, and I love my skin. And kudos, I have so much admiration for those people who are able to do that, who are able to say, I love the way I look regardless of my skin. And actually, not regardless, but I love my skin in this lighter pigmentation or in these patches. Like, I've learned to love my skin like it is. And I just think that's extremely admirable. But for me, you know, I'm in the middle of that, right? So I've gone through the phase where I've tried all the cures and everything, and I'm still actively treating my vitiligo. And like I said, I want to share those things so I can be a resource to other people. But for me, I'm in the mix of, yeah, I want to treat my vitiligo, but at the same time, I want to appreciate, and it's important to appreciate the phase of life that I'm in. It's important to appreciate myself. I love myself. It's not that I don't love myself because I don't love my vitiligo, right? And so I feel like there has to be a happy medium that says, yes, I love myself and I want to improve on myself, right? And I feel like in our culture you get so much, it's either or. And Queen Latifah talked about this. I was watching the Red Table Talk with Jada Pinkett, and she talked about obesity, and she talked about the fact that there's so many people who they want to say, I love the way, I love my bigger size, or I love that I'm plus size, and you know, I love my weight and all of my curves, and that's great. That's great for those people, right? But just because, say you wanted to improve on yourself, you wanted to get healthy, or you wanted to watch what you eat or be in the gym, that now doesn't mean that you don't love yourself, right? And so I think there's a lot of false confidence in the world today of like, you have to love yourself to the point of you can't see any flaws in yourself. And I just don't believe that's realistic. For me, I can see flaws in myself. I cannot love every single white patch that comes up that I didn't expect, that I said, oh, look, now there's a new white patch that came up that I didn't even know was showing up. I don't have to be excited about that. Like I can want to improve upon myself, and I can still love myself. And so that's why I really wanted to start with that mental aspect first, so that then I can share with you guys all of the things that I've done over the years that have worked, that haven't worked, that you may be curious about. Because at the end of the day, it's not about choosing, you know, whether you love yourself or whether you want to improve. I think you can love yourself and still want to improve on yourself. And I'm excited to share my journey more with you guys about vitiligo. So like I said, subscribe below, and again, let me know your thoughts on vitiligo, and as or your experiences with vitiligo, and as a little homework, go take a picture of yourself highlighting your vitiligo, like celebrate your vitiligo, and I'll see you guys soon and we'll talk more. Bye.